Guess who just had a birthday? It was me. I got all this stuff for my birthday. So we are looking at a G.I. Joe Classified series figure. It's Cobra Desert Scorpion and Skrpion. So let's play with these toys. Let's grab our human character here. I can already tell just by handling him that he is like every other Hasbro, $20 to $30 figure. And there's nothing wrong with that. He poses really nicely, and he feels like he's not going to break, which is always very nice. Double jointed limbs and some pretty cool part swap options. Like I can pop this faceplate off here, and where did I put that? Pop this on very easily. It's actually the first time I've seen this on a figure like this, so I think that's very cool. So yeah, he is exactly like you would expect. Now, let's look at our bug friend here. Now this is very cool. I've never had any kind of super articulated bug before, so this is a lot of fun to mess around with. We've got some pinchies. Oh, sorry, buddy. Anyway, we got some pinchies. His tail is quite movable. And each of his disgusting little legs is fully articulated. So you can actually pretty easily like perch him on, uneven surfaces, and he will look pretty cool. Good stuff. Lots of fun to play with. Stand you up, buddy. So handling gets a thumbs up. All right, let's look at the quality of this plastic and all the stuff you get. Let's look at our bug friend here first. Just want to talk about the paint on him because it is great. He's got those creepy little green eyes there. You can see some fleshy bits sticking out once in a while. I hate these little gum teeth, like having like pink gums and little teeth there. Oh, it's gross. But that theme is consistent throughout. You can see anytime there's like fleshy bits sticking out of the exoskeleton, they're in this pink hue, which is actually a really great way to do the ball joints on the tail. So yeah, I really dig that. Scorpion looks fantastic. Definitely the star of this whole set. And just to clarify, they did not come with those rocks. I had those, but the Scorpion tends to look better when he's perched on something, I've noticed. And next, let's look at our friend here. He's as you would expect. He looks really nice. I'm not seeing any like QC issues on the paint or anything. It's all very clean. Not much like washes or anything to add additional detail, but I'm not really seeing anything that that isn't painted where I wish it was. Maybe if I want to get picky, like the little buckles down here. Now let's slowly kit him out with everything that he came with. So we'll start with the backpack. This is pretty cool. It's got some extra rounds maybe, or flares, something like that. This cool little articulated scanner camera type device. Got a little ball joint here and some on 2 different hinges, so you can really get this into a bunch of different positions. Wonder if you can can you fold it down into like a inactive state? No, not really. Whoops. That's okay. Could pop that back on. Here we go. Yeah, very cool little backpack. Let's put this on him and see how that looks, because I am curious to see how it interacts with the cape. Once you've got that on, you kind of got this kind of a silly look here. Maybe you're supposed to kind of tuck it to one side. That makes more sense. So once you get the backpack on, you definitely want to kind of like push the cape off to the side a bit. Or maybe, let's see here. Let's look at the spear really quick. Pretty cool. Nice paintwork on it. So with that in mind, what I was interrupted myself when I was trying to get to is maybe we want to scoot this over here. Yeah, that looks a little better. So we got the spear ready to go. Let's see how many other things we can stick on him. We got the visor, which came on the figure. And then the alternate faceplate that I showed. Looks very nice. Very well painted. And we got this little flexible tube piece, which I believe I saw a hole in the helmet. So I'm assuming I stick this in here. Is that even on camera? There we go. And then we put it in the backpack. There's a little peg right here. That is tricky. There we go. He's starting to look pretty geared up. Let's rotate that a little bit. Not bad. Next, we've got 2 knives. Unpainted, but sometimes modern knives have this kind of black look to them. And let's see here. I saw a knife sheath on his hip. And we have somewhere to put the second knife. Aha, here we go. Pretty cool. What else we got? We have 2 pairs, or a pair of claws. These are much nicer than claws that I've seen come with previous G.I. Joe classified figures that didn't fit in the hands very well. Let's see how these do. It's a little tricky when they insist on having a set of trigger finger hands work with everything, but there we go. That looks way, way nicer than claws I've seen before. All right, we've got this strange looking gun. Never seen a gun like this before. That's a very interesting place for the magazine to go. And as I would expect, this is probably going to go into his hand just fine and line up with the trigger finger. Whoop. Would you look at that? Magazine comes out. That's always nice for photos if you want to portray a character reloading. Pop that back in there. Very cool. And finally, we've got this grappling gun. Very cool. Especially since I'm guessing, based on how the rope is wrapped here, that I could pull this out. Look at that. Now, I did mention this before, but this toy line is definitely kid-friendly. The figures are very durable, and this is absolutely like, you know, a kid playing with an action figure. Like a grappling hook is like a dream come true. You know, you could like, you know, have them grab onto something and hang from it. It's good stuff. As a a photographer might have a little trouble with this because it's not on a wire or anything, but you could probably wrap a wire around this to make it more articulated. But playability-wise, great stuff. So I would say as long as you want everything in this set and aren't just buying it to get the Scorpion, value is definitely a thumbs up. If you only want the Scorpion, I would wait and see if maybe someone sells it on eBay for less than the price of the whole set. All right, let's see what we can really do with these figures. Start with our bug friend again. And I'm actually going to go through all the articulations. So we got a ball joint here, and another ball joint at the claw, and then yet another ball joint for the claw itself. Plenty of range there. Can't like quite like if you want to like really reaching out, you know, angle the photo right, should be fine. He can't like fully extend. There's no like elbow joint here or anything, but should be pretty much all you need, honestly. Then, as I said before, each of the legs is articulated, so you got 2 ball joints for each leg. All right, or is that a hinge? That's a hinge. Okay, so we got a ball joint at the connection point for each leg, and then a hinge. So it's very easy to like perch this guy on uneven surfaces, and he tends to look better that way, so you actually get like the whole Scorpion look, because when he's flat on a shelf, he's not going to look as interesting, or if you have him on like a lower shelf, he should be fine. And then the tail is just a whole line of ball joints, which actually has like maybe a little bit less range than you would expect. Want him to like really sting someone in front of him. He's got to like, still though, this guy is going to be awesome for like, if you got like any kind of like wasteland adventurer, like Fallout type characters, this guy could totally stand in for like a rad scorpion. Or if you've got like some barbarians or any kind of like savage adventurer, this guy's like a perfect enemy for that, especially if you've got like a couple of them. I may try and see if I can get an extra one of these guys. Now, as far as our main man here goes, I have pretty reasonable expectations for his articulation. We got, as I said before, double jointed limbs everywhere, so he's got plenty of range. No problems there at all. He's got this style of ab crunch, which is there's just like a big hinge here, and it's not my favorite way to do this sort of articulation, but it certainly gets the job done here. Oh, that little tube just keeps coming undone. Not sure if I'm going to keep that on there, especially kind of interferes with his little camera too. And let's see how he does with that spear, because two-handed weapons are always interesting with figures. Grab that. Let's see. Oop, pop that in there. So he holds it just fine. I am impressed that even though he only comes with one set of hands, he can pretty much hold all of his items just fine. I would have loved, like, I always want, like, some fists and relaxed hands and stuff, but if you could only include one hand type, this is not bad. Could even kind of pass for a relaxed hand if you don't focus on it too much. Yeah, he holds this spear just fine. Pretty much whatever type of spear pose you want to do looks pretty good. And he also stands just fine. He's pretty well balanced, so I've got no problems there. Yeah, this is a very cool kind of desert adventurer character type. Now, a really nerdy thing I'm going to critique, because this is my show and I can do what I want, is how well he could actually handle this gear based on where it is placed. So the spear, I've got no problems with. Get pulled out and whoop. And assuming that the backpack, some kind of magnetic clip or something, him just reaching back, flip the spear around, reach back, and put it in its slot. Yeah, no problem there. That's cool. But I look at this layout for the knives and I wonder, how would he actually pull these out? So, like, this hand can reach both of them, no problem, but which knife would this hand grab if he wants to, like, dual wield his knives? Would he would he like go into a crouch, reach back, grab this one, and then reach down and grab this one from his... Feels a little weird, doesn't it? I feel like maybe if this sheath was reversed, he would be able to easily grab this knife with this hand, and if this one was flipped around, then he could reach back and grab it with this hand. It's a minor thing. I highly doubt anyone was thinking about that when they were kitting this figure out, but it's something I like to pay attention to a lot, especially when I am putting together like a custom Mythic Legions figure and I'm putting a bunch of daggers and swords on him and stuff. I like to kind of align everything to where the character would actually reach for it. It's just a fun, nerdy thing I'm really into. Now, as far as the rest of his gear goes, it's all very cool, but there's not anywhere to put it, which is okay. You could probably like grab fashion some straps or something for these guns, and or maybe he doesn't need to carry a gun. This character seems very kind of like a good blank slate for customizers. Like, he's a nice template for a general desert adventurer, and that's exactly what I'm going to do for him in the next session. So, range gets a thumbs up. All right, it's kit bashing time. So for this, our scorpion friend is going to exit because he is just perfect as is. But for this guy, I've got plans, so I'll be back shortly. So real quick, here's the base body with everything taken off. As you can see, it is pretty much your basic G.I. Joe classified body. This vest was surprisingly tricky. It had some attachment points and some glue, so you could see what that looks like on the back here. Nothing my X-Acto knife couldn't take care of. And these leg strap pieces came off just fine. Head was on a ball joint, as expected. And these cloth goods were just wrapped around the neck. Very easy to take everything off. Now, let's see what I can do when I reassemble him with my own stuff. So I tried a few different looks, and I was surprised at how much fun I had just swapping out cloth goods and heads with this guy. The base black and yellow body actually lends itself to a lot of different looks, and they all came out really great. So yeah, this is the final look I ended up with. I'm actually quite surprised that it is close to the default look, just with some adjustments. So these cloth goods, I put them under the vest. This kind of dirty poncho thing came with another figure. I tried to keep most of his gear, but I stripped it down quite a bit. So he's just got this revolver from a Valaverse weapon pack, his two knives, and his spear. I was happy when I realized that these pieces can come off, because I could actually address that knife complaint I had earlier. So now he can easily reach the knife back there and the knife right here for double knife time.
I gotta tell you, this is pretty terrific. Yeah.
I also grabbed this like wired black strap that was just in my cloth goods box, and I used that as the holster for his revolver. Tuck that in there. I think that's pretty cool. And of course, the spear goes in the backpack. And I really dig this camera thing too. I think this guy is kind of underrated. I'm sure a lot of people view this as a scorpion that comes with an action figure. But I really think this guy might actually be the star of the show if you're willing to mess around with him for a bit. I just realized it should be this hand that actually draws his firearm because of how he would reach into his holster. Weapon nerd. So my kit bash rating is absolutely a thumbs up. Okay, we're doing the scale comparison at the end because I forgot to do it before we kit bashed. Here we go. Let's start with my custom Dovahkiin made from Savage Crucible parts and McFarlane Toys Caveman Batman that I added a cape to. If you want to know how I made this guy, I've got an idea for like kit bash recipe videos or maybe shorts. If that sounds interesting, please let me know in the comments. Frazetta Girls Conan and Boss Fight Studio Red Sonja. Some more Wasteland Adventurers, one made with Mythic Legions parts and the other with Operation Monster Force. G.I. Joe Classified Road Pig and a Valaverse Praetorian. Fury Planet Crocker and Operation Monster Force Kilowog. Legally Distinct Jill Valentine from Bro Toys and an Operation Monster Force Blackwatch agent. This is great right here. You know, Resident Evil has lots of giant bugs and that Jill is on the smaller side, so they look really good together. All right, as always, let's get our new friends into the case. We have 2 stops to make because we have 2 figures. They are going into different displays. So down here, this is the critter section. We got a Displacer Beast, a Mimic, Owlbear, all that good stuff. So let's see if we can tuck our Scorpion here under the Owlbear. Perfect. Shut that. And now, let's head on over to the Wasteland Explorer display, which is a perfect fit for our friend here. I probably should have done some rearranging ahead of time because it might be tricky to cram him in. I love this display, though. This is one of my favorites. It's kind of our general Fallout, you know, Mad Max-esque figures. They'll fit together pretty well. Let's tuck him in there for now. Turn his head this way. You gonna stand, buddy? There you go. Nice. Looking good. All right, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you come back for the next one. Bye. Oh, I forgot his super important head tube. So now he's got that. Oh, maybe, is that like a feed for his camera? Maybe that's what it is. That's neat. I love practical stuff on figures. Are you still here? Click one of those thingamabobs up there.